live with breaking news. This is Channel 4 News at 10.
Good evening and welcome to Channel 4 News at 10. Fires in East Tennessee are threatening one of the state's most popular tourist destinations. We have team coverage.
Downtown Gatlinburg and several nearby neighborhoods are under a mandatory evacuation.
Some devastating pictures out there tonight. Downtown Gatlinburg under mandatory evacuation because of fire in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. Police are going into the area to get people out. National Guard called in. City officials urging everyone to leave. Here is why. The video posted, look at this, across social media. Just terrifying here tonight.
The situation is so severe, the National Guard is being deployed. There are confirmed fires burning in downtown Gatlinburg and in Pigeon Forge.
We also understand that at least one hotel, a 16-story DoubleTree by Hilton, that has been evacuated. We also understand that one of the fires is actually burning at the edge of Dollywood right now. The resort and those cabins that accompany it, they've been evacuated as well.
In fact, there's a mandatory evacuation for the entire area. Extremely serious situation here in the Great Smoky Mountains.
Firefighters in East Tennessee have their hands full with a massive wildfire. That fire, fueled by dry conditions and powerful winds, has consumed a number of buildings and homes. It's also forced evacuations in the beloved tourism town of Gatlinburg. Overnight, hundreds of people were ordered to leave homes and hotels in the Gatlinburg area under mandatory evacuation orders. More than 30 homes and businesses burned to the ground overnight in a fire that officials believe may be a case of arson. Motorists driving along smoke-choked roads, fleeing intense flames, looking and spreading like molten lava. While terrified guests were trapped inside a Hilton hotel surrounded by flames, the fire too close and too dangerous for them to leave. This video is taken from inside the hotel. Fires burning out of control just outside the front door. Some residents who live there feeling lucky to just make it out alive.
They let me go back in just for a few minutes to get my animals out, to get them safely. We all are all safe now at my son's, so we're fine.
An apartment complex, one of the casualties of the more than 30 buildings torched by the blaze. Several roads through Great Smoky Mountain National Park have been closed. Officials say 70-mile-an-hour wind gusts fueled the out-of-control fires near several popular tourist destinations, including Dollywood, the area's largest theme park. Just days ago, country music legend Dolly Parton releasing this public service announcement.
Please help firefighters avoid wildfires.
Parton was asking fans to help protect the Great Smoky Mountains by observing burn bans and reporting fires when they see them. A spokesperson for Dollywood says so far, no structures inside the theme park have been damaged, but staff and dozens of guests were evacuated from Dollywood's Dreammore Resort as a precaution. National Park employees were evacuated from the area too.
I've been in federal service for 25 years, and nothing that we've experienced has prepared us for what we've experienced here in the last 24 hours. It's been just unbelievable.
From devastating to deadly, we just learned within the last hour that the wildfires in the Smoky Mountains have claimed 3 lives. Now, we have watched these flames target populated areas like Gatlinburg and Pigeon Forge. Folks, if you've been away from the news today, you have missed a lot.
If you were with us at 3 this afternoon, we brought you the news of those deaths live on the air. You also saw and heard Governor Haslam address the public.
This is a special place in the state of Tennessee.
One of Tennessee's favorite destinations in danger. Smoke chokes roads.
We'll get out of it. Hit the gas. I can't see.
Intense flames forcing people from homes.
And we just watched the building go down in flames.
Thousands of residents and tourists waiting for good news.
The firemen's gonna get this thing maintained and get it out here shortly.
The volunteer state ready to help.
The fireman came and got us, and I don't know who he was, but I thank him so much.
And Mother Nature might bring more relief.
Fire officials here in Gatlinburg tell us they are still going door to door, checking for people who may be trapped in their homes. Meanwhile, 5 miles away in the community of Cobley Knob, everyone's accounted for, but many of their homes did not make it through last night's fire. Active fires burn along the Cobley Knob section of Gatlinburg. A National Guard helicopter dropping water from a nearby lake to put out the flames.
This is by far the worst. We've lost, about 8 years ago, we had a big one. We lost 3 structures, and we had departments from all over East Tennessee up here. But this is by far the worst that Pittman Center's ever had. Y'all saw, I guess you saw earlier, they had a Black Hawk helicopter doing airdrops. We have never had that here.
Retired Pittman Center volunteer fire chief Jeff Nichols back on duty today. 20 firefighters from his department worked throughout the night, rescuing people from their homes and fighting hurricane-force winds that spread flames across the mountain.
It's when your guys get in a position to be in trouble and we start getting locked up and we have to consider taking the guys out of the trucks and abandoning the trucks. That's where it gets you a little scared.
And that happened last night?
That happened last night.
This is one of about 100 homes here at the Cobley Knob section of Gatlinburg that burned to the ground last night. Pittman Center volunteer firefighters have worked around the clock protecting the rest of the homes on the mountain, but they say the winds at about 80 miles an hour were just too strong to save everything. Now 3 people are dead, more than a dozen injured, and county officials are telling evacuees it's just too unsafe to come back to Gatlinburg right now.
I mean, it was going up all the trees, the whole ground. There was you couldn't see nothing but fire. It was insane. We got into Pigeon Forge and all we could see was smoke, and so we got as far away as we possibly could.
We're going to leave you with some of the powerful images and the sound that have been captured.
We're dealing with the worst possible conditions imaginable.
This is crazy.
All of Tennessee shares our sorrow over the loss here of life and obviously all the other damage that has been done here. This is a special place in the state of Tennessee.
Everything is burning around us, every cabin, everything.
My house was gone. My business of 31 years is gone.
Smoke was so thick we couldn't breathe.
It's a little numbing to see the extent of the damage.
The things I've known probably don't exist anymore. Pray for us.
We are live with team coverage for you this morning. Kevin Traeger is live in Gatlinburg. Carly Gordon joining us live as co-anchor in Pigeon Forge.
Thousands of people are waking up to devastation. The people here have been hoping and praying for rain. You can see they got it, but along with that rain, they got severe weather, also heavy winds, which could have made this fire situation far worse. This video gives you a better sense from the air. You can tell that a subdivision is almost burned to the ground. The fire is still smoldering. This is just one of hundreds of structures. At last count, we are told 200 to 300 structures burned, no longer exist because of this massive fire. Turns out you're the owner of the Westgate Hotel, which is now destroyed, is that right?
Well, mostly. We lost about 74 of 100 buildings, approximately 800 keys burned to the ground.
Despite the rain moving into East Tennessee, 8 new fires developed overnight, and while crews are still battling flames, other firefighters are combing through the Smoky Mountains looking for people who are missing. Channel 4's Liz Loheis is live in Gatlinburg, where a press conference just wrapped up, and Liz, several families are still looking for their loved ones.
So many people are looking for their loved ones, Haley. In fact, law enforcement officials couldn't even give me a ballpark number of the amount of people who are missing because details are so murky right now. But to get a better understanding, they are asking people who have loved ones missing to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. That's 1-800-TBI-FIND. They're hoping they can get a better understanding of those missing. Now, you are not supposed to call about property or anything else, just strictly missing loved ones. Now, as you mentioned, we did just learn that a 4th victim died. That person was found in the rubble of the Travelers Motel on Highway 321. The other 3 victims that we knew had died prior were also found in destroyed areas. Dozens are being treated at the hospital. As you mentioned, 1 firefighter was hurt, but they are expected to be okay. Now, 200 people stayed at the Red Cross shelter last night. That's far less from 2 nights ago when 2,000 people took shelter at the Red Cross. All of this is far from over. Officials say the weather has brought on a whole new set of challenges.
We are experiencing some small mudslides and rock slides because there's no longer that foliage that's holding everything together. So we're having to go back into areas that we thought were previously cleared and accessible and go through some of our same processes over again.
So yeah, a lot of fire crews having to start over. Now, right after we wrap it up here, we are going to go to some of the most ravaged areas. So be sure to stay with us both on air, online. We'll be sending out pictures over social media. We'll bring you the very latest on all of this destruction. Reporting live in Gatlinburg, Liz Loheis, Channel 4 News.
Thank you, Liz. 3 brothers from right here in Nashville were found unconscious in Gatlinburg, and their parents are still missing. Vanderbilt confirms they are treating Branson, Wesley, and Jarrett Summers for critical injuries. The brothers were originally taken to UT Knoxville's hospital, but were later rushed to Vanderbilt because their injuries were so severe. Their parents, John and Janet Summers, are from the Memphis area. They're still unaccounted for.
A news conference just wrapped up there in Gatlinburg, and we just learned, sadly, the death toll in the raging wildfires there has now grown to 7. And more than 400 homes and businesses in Sevier County are damaged or gone. Those are the latest numbers. There are still a few fires burning at this hour, but the heavy rain, we're told, is helping.
And we have you covered on every angle as police search for the missing and evaluate damage. We're even hearing one mid-state woman's story of survival. Now, our crews have been in Gatlinburg for the last 24 hours.
Channel 4's Liz Loheis joins us now. Liz has been out checking some of the damage and joins us now live. Liz?
Yeah, Tracy and Jeremy, we've spent most of the afternoon just driving around some of the most ravaged areas, and it's been unbelievable. Most of it looks like what you see behind me. There's hardly anything left of just dozens of cabins here in the mountains. Let's go to some video now. You can see more of the devastation, melted washers and dryers, charred furniture, and ashes of things you can't even tell what they used to be. This area of Sourwood Way was a ghost town. People had no choice but to leave everything they had behind and, not be able to take anything with them. This was the case for also many people at motels off of the main highway 321.
Late last night, the winds picked up and ambers were coming through my window, past my window, so I went outside to check it out. And I looked on the other side of the motel. The woods was on fire, so I just grabbed the dog and started walking down 321 and down the main strip where the whole mountainside was engulfed in flames. Me carrying the dog and a fire extinguisher.
Now, James Murphy was just one of many who lost everything. Again, we've seen very few people coming back to this area to see what's left of their cabins. We also, some of the rubble in here is just amazing. Many of the cabins have burned to the ground. What's been amazing, though, is we've seen cabins in the middle of 2 other cabins that have burned that are just standing upright that have absolutely no damage. And coming up tonight at 4:30, we'll hear from a woman who watched some of the fires burning from her cabin porch. Reporting live in Wears Valley, Liz Loheis, Channel 4 News.
Okay, Liz, thank you. Well, 3 brothers injured in the fires are in a Nashville hospital at this hour. Their parents are missing. The Summers family was enjoying a family vacation in Gatlinburg Monday night when the fires started closing in. Channel 4's Nancy Amons joins us now with more. Nancy.
Well, Jared, Wesley, and Branson Summers are in Vanderbilt Medical Center in critical but stable condition. There's no word about their parents, John and Janet Summers. The Summers family vacation ended in chaos. Janet Summers posted on Monday afternoon, "The fires are close to Gatlinburg, ashes floating, feels like end of times," she wrote. Family friends posted on Facebook that while trying to escape, the family split up. Their escape route was blocked by debris in the road. The boys went one way and the parents continued down the road. Jared Summers and Wesley Summers are twins, both 21 years old. The twins and their brother Branson Summers had been living in Nashville, where they worked as bartenders and cooks at a number of restaurants. The owner of Bastion Restaurant said this was the closest family he'd ever met. They were homeschooled and indie rock musicians. The boys' parents, John and Janet Summers, live in Memphis. John works for an architectural firm. Janet works from home for an outsourcing company. Its owner, Monica Tucker, says this was the family's annual Thanksgiving holiday vacation together. They are wonderful people, she says. The parents' whereabouts, unknown.
It's a very difficult thing for everyone. I mean, we are concerned about folks that haven't been accounted for, and as I said earlier, we want to assure these folks we're going to do everything in our power as a community to find their loved one.
Now, just a few minutes ago, the family released a statement. It says the Summers boys are stable, and one of them has been able to talk briefly and share his feelings and concerns for his brothers and parents. We have family and friends coming in from all over the country to be here with us. So many have expressed the desire to assist, and a website has been set up for the benefit of the boys. We're so grateful for the outpouring of love and support by so many people and look forward to the continued recovery of Branson, Jared, and Wesley. We continue to pray that John and Janet are found, and we thank everyone for their kind thoughts and prayers. It's from the family of John Summers. We're getting a link up on our website where donations can be made for the family. Tracy.
Nancy Amons today. Thank you very much. And as we mentioned, the death toll in those wildfires has risen to 7 now. Dozens are being treated at the hospital. One firefighter was hurt. He is going to be okay. Officials say the number of people missing, though, is still so murky. Police are asking anyone missing a family member to call 1-800-TBI-FIND. Be prepared to share names, phone numbers, vehicle identification, and last known whereabouts. Do not call about property or anything else, only missing loved ones. Now, officials say this weather has brought on a new set of challenges.
After the fire is we are experiencing some small mudslides and rock slides because there's no longer that foliage that's holding everything together. So we're having to go back into areas that we thought were previously cleared and accessible and go through some of our same processes over again.
So again, the TBI gathering information to help authorities there. They'll use that information to law enforcement, share that with them in response for further follow-up. 200 people we know stayed at the Red Cross shelter last night. That's down, though, from 2,000 the night before. Still, this is far from over, and so is our coverage. It does not stop here. Coming up in just a few minutes, we're going to hear from a woman who was in Gatlinburg when they were forced to evacuate. And, of course, you can find complete coverage on our WSMV app.
And aside from the wildfires, more natural disasters ripped through the South overnight.
A couple in Smithville is safe at home today after fearing for their safety during a Gatlinburg visit. They tell us they were part of a traffic jam Monday night with the fires raging all around them. Channel 4's Forrest Sanders is back from talking to that couple and is here now to share their story.
Yeah, Tracy, Richard and June Jennings of Smithville told us they were staying at their Westgate Resort timeshare Monday night when a staff member came beating on their door. Smoke was overwhelming, and they say they knew something was wrong.
Well, we're evacuating.
Richard and June took some videos as they were going down the mountain and got stuck in traffic. The two say embers were flying. As fire mounted on both sides of them, they considered getting out of the car, hiding in a ditch, and using towels around their noses for the smoke. After 20 minutes stuck, they say cars started moving. They spotted a family of a grandmother, her pregnant daughter, and a 5-year-old boy.
The fire was at the bumper of their car, so they got out to run. So I rolled down the window and I said, "Do you guys need a ride? Get in."
Richard and June say they drove away from the fire safe and they dropped off that family at a hotel in Knoxville. Richard and June continued saying the people of Tennessee are resilient and they know Gatlinburg will rebuild. They say their thoughts and prayers are with the people there tonight.
And now let's head live to Sevier County, where Channel 4's Heather Horrigan is waiting with folks who just want to hear anything about their homes. Heather?
Yeah, Tom, tonight is another night of waiting for more than 200 people who are staying here at this shelter tonight. At this point, most people do know if their home has been destroyed or not, but they are waiting to assess that damage. So as you can imagine, a lot of anxiety for those that don't know if their home is still standing or for those that have a long road of recovery ahead of them. But here tonight at the shelter, there is plenty of basic necessities for everyone. You can see water, paper towels here behind me, and then folks over here glued to the news, watching, maybe hoping to see if they can figure out if their home has made it or not. And you can see there's also a charging station right there. But just being here tonight, you can tell from the second you walk in these doors how loving and close this community is. I spoke to one woman who has been here for 2 nights now, and she says it's just been heartbreaking, first losing her home and then learning her neighbor has died in the fire. Others say they're just taking it day by day to figure out what is next. Now, every person in this shelter here tonight has a story very similar, several of them barely making it down the mountains while flames were surrounding them. And coming up a little bit later on in the newscast, I talked to a couple who lost 20 of their cabins. It's their home, it's their livelihood, how they're coping a little bit later on in the newscast.
As many of you know, several of our local fire departments have been helping out in East Tennessee. Some of them allowed one of our reporters to tag along today. Channel 4's Haley Mason is there and joins us now live with more. Haley?
Good afternoon. We are live at Bluffview Way, actually above Pigeon Forge and Sevierville, where we have followed the Williamson County and Brentwood fire departments here. As we walk, you can see all around me nothing but charred soil, burned trees, and then tucked away here are people's homes, their cabins, and their property, either burned or completely damaged by these fires. Firefighters have been focusing on putting out the hot spots. They've sprayed quite a bit of water, some suppressing foam since we've been here just about a little more than an hour, but you can still see that smoke is rising from the ground. Even on the way up here, the signs directing us to Bluffview, the cabins here, those signs were melted because of the heat from the fire. We talked to the Williamson County Fire Coordinator about their efforts here and how these task force are handling it all.
Pretty emotional is a big thing with the group, because we come across so many homes that have been destroyed, cabins, people's memories is what we see that's there, and it's pretty devastating to deal with that, to deal with so many.
And some of the men that have been fighting these fires out here, particularly from Brentwood, they've been here twice fighting different fires in the last couple weeks. The Spring Hill Fire Department just was sent back home not too long ago, but these men tell me they'll be out here for as long as it takes trying to get this community back in the clear.
Well, hundreds of people fled their burning homes in Gatlinburg and in Pigeon Forge Monday as a mandatory evacuation was put into place. But some of those people are now questioning the way they were notified and why it didn't happen sooner. The Channel 4 I-Team's Alana Otler examined the system already in place.
Sevier County uses a notification system designed for emergencies like this, times when they need to reach thousands of people as soon as possible. But some people say they never knew this system existed. As soon as a mandatory evacuation was issued on Monday night, troopers, firefighters, and volunteers rushed people to safety. As the flames encroached, thousands of people fled their homes. But some voiced their frustration over the notice they did not receive.
No warning, nothing.
Others, like Phyllis Seidel, say they grappled with when to leave.
I had called the police earlier in the day and asked, is somebody going to tell us if there's a time we need to leave? And she said, we'll do a reverse 911 if you have a house phone, which I do. When somebody started banging on the door, I was surprised, but I came out to the door and he said, are you packing to leave? And I said, I didn't know I was supposed to.
So how do these so-called reverse 911 calls work? The county controls a notification system called Code Red. It's a service offered by the private company Emergency Communications Network in Florida. Code Red lets governments send alerts to their citizens. But to receive alerts, people must sign up for them, providing information like their phone numbers or email addresses. Jeff Burkhart rents out 3 properties in Gatlinburg, but he says as long as he's owned them, he never knew the system existed.
Anything would be great to get the word out. Some kind of system like that would have been probably a lifesaver for several people.
Another cabin owner of 20 years says he, too, has never heard of a system. The service is publicized on the website for Sevier County, allowing people to sign up. Right now, it's unclear if Code Red is the county's only emergency notification system. But Burkhart says people need to know it exists.
I think that if the county has that system in place, I think this is unfortunately going to bring it to the forefront of what's available.
We've reached out to Sevier County EMA to see how many people are enrolled in the system and how many people received notifications on Monday. The private company tells me landlines are not the best way to deliver these messages. Cell phones and email alerts have a better chance of reaching people.
Today, Channel 4 is teaming up with the Community Foundation of Middle Tennessee to raise money for fire victims in East Tennessee.
We have dozens of singers who have volunteered their time. They've come into Studio B. They're in the green room right now. Take a look. I'm telling you, when we put out the call, everyone came running. It's what we do here in Tennessee. You know, that's why we're the Volunteer State.
Every time I broke your heart, I swore I would change. It's like I was playing a part, it was always the same.
For many people here in Gatlinburg, they spent the last 5 days not knowing whether their homes, their businesses, and their properties survived. I want to show you where we are right here at Ski Mountain Plaza. It's one of the first businesses that you'll see coming up the hill here in Gatlinburg. It used to be a 7,000 square foot shopping plaza filled with a cabin rental company, a pizza shop, and a couple of other businesses. But as you can see now, there's not much left. I do want to bring in the property owner here who we happened to see while we were on site. His name is Jeff. Jeff, if you want to join us over here for a quick second. Jeff, is this the first time that you've been to the property since the wildfire?
It is not. It is not. We managed to get up here a little earlier, but this is the first time we've spent any time here. How
jarring was it to see your life's work basically here reduced to nothing?
It's unsettling. It's unsettling. I've never experienced anything like it. But in the end, it is just stuff. And the important thing is the people are okay, and life goes on.
Here's an updated total. We're at $98,000. That's amazing.
Yeah,
excited about that.
Let's make it over the $100,000 mark. You can do it right now just going to WSMV.com.
We've got some snacks, some hot chocolate, and the money raised is astounding tonight. At this location only, what is our grand total here?
13,000 plus. That's amazing.
In cash and check donations right here. That really is.
Mm-hmm. Hey everybody, this is Brad Paisley. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight, but it's really important that you give.
In the end, that's all I am.
What we've raised between the church drop-off, our corporate giving, and our online donations, $266,000, $704.49. Yes.
If you take a look behind me, you can see that Dollywood is back open for business. In the short time that we've been out here, we've seen at least 100 cars drive through that entrance. The damage on the Dollywood property was not too significant, but just down the road a few miles, the scene was very different. The last time they were on this road, Tim and Donna Patrick were running for their lives.
When we came up here on Monday, everything was in flames here.
They decided to climb the hill on Ski Mountain Road today, hoping to see something, anything that reminded them this was home.
I saved the bowl.
It's all I could save out of this whole rubble of mess.
The Patricks lived on this cliff overlooking the Gatlinburg they grew to love.
And I had hope I might find something, and you get here and there's nothing.
An antique cannon was about the only other thing that survived. But even before they sifted through the rubble, the couple had made a decision. They would rebuild right here in this very spot.
We do have the view, and we're going to start over again. That's what we're going to do.